Do not make this mistake with your salad garden. I want to show you the big mistake I made the other day harvesting my lettuce. I don't even know what I was thinking, but you can take my mistake and make sure that you don't make it. Now, lettuce is one of the most prolific things you can grow in the garden. You're going to get lots and lots of lettuce from each and every seed that you plant in the garden if you don't make this mistake. So it all comes down to the way that you harvest your lettuces once they're ready to produce and be eaten. So I've been eating off my lettuce garden now for a few weeks. I'm having the best salads in the world each and every day. If you want to know my dressing recipe, tell me in the comments below. But the other night I was in a hustle and I came down here and I don't know what I was thinking, but basically completely decapitated and killed this particular lettuce plant, and now her life is over and she could have kept living for at least another month or 2 or 3. So don't make this mistake. So the mistake came from the way I harvested this lettuce. Now, these are leafy greens. These are lettuce leaves, and really when you think about lettuce plants, we tend to think of them as head lettuces or leaf lettuces. So an example of a head lettuce would be an iceberg lettuce or a romaine. Generally, you think of it forming this, head that all comes off at once, right? But then we talk about leaf lettuces, and with leaf lettuces, we're thinking more about individual leaves, right? Just one leaf at a time. And these you'll see more in a spring mix box at the grocery store, or say something like spinach, right? You think about leaf after leaf after leaf of spinach rather than, a big head of spinach where it's all wrapped together. So when you're growing your lettuce plants, you've got your head lettuces, you've got your leaf lettuces, but in general, every lettuce plant that you have growing could be considered a leaf lettuce, and I want to show you why you want to consider it that way and why you should harvest it that way too. So all our lettuce plants, whether they're a head lettuce or a leaf lettuce in our minds, they all grow from the center. All the new growth for these plants comes right out of what I call the heart of the plant. And you can see with this butter crunch the way it's happening. If you peel back the layers, right, you can see smaller and smaller and even the tiniest little leaves right there at the heart of the plant. Every day that this plant gets sunshine and water and nutrients, it's pushing up new, tiny, beautiful, delicious, fresh leaves right from the center of its plants. That's where the new growth comes from. So when you go to harvest a lettuce plant, whether it's a leaf plant, leaf lettuce, or a head lettuce in your head, you want to think about preserving the center of that plant, keeping that in the garden as much as you can, as long as you can, because the longer you can keep the center of the lettuce plant in your garden, the more harvest you're going to get from each and every plant, no matter how you categorize it. So the huge mistake I made the other day is I came to this plant, this beautiful butter crunch plant, and I literally decapitated it. I took the heart out of this plant. I cut it all the way down to the very base, all right? So I don't know, I must have been really hungry at the time or something, because I know better, but now you'll know better, and hopefully you won't make the same mistake. So by doing this, you can see these are the outer leaves on this plant. These are actually the oldest leaves. This is the old growth on this plant. So I can pull those off, but that's old growth, not new growth. No new growth is going to come. I might get a few tiny little kind of puny leaves off this thing, but for the most part, I ended this plant's life. It's nothing it's going to grow from here on out because I took away its heart. I took away that center part where it grows its newest leaves. So we're not going to harvest lettuces like that unless you're at the very end of the season. So you're at a time of the season where you know that the temperatures are rising too high. You're going to be hitting the high 80s into the 90s. Lettuces are starting to bolt or to show signs of turning bitter because the weather is too hot. That would be a time to cut it that way. The only other time would be when it's about to get really cold. So if you know say it's like in winter or you're heading into late fall or winter, there's going to be a huge snow, big frost, lots of cold weather. That would be a time to harvest this lettuce like this. get it inside and enjoy it before it gets ruined by the cold or by the heat. Those are the two main times. And then the only other time you'd want to harvest your lettuce like this is when you want the entire head. You want to consider it a head of lettuce, and you want to take the whole thing all at once, knowing full well once you do that, the production on that plant is over. All right, so those are the 3 times you want to do it: too hot, too cold, or you definitely want this whole head of lettuce. You want it to be beautiful. You want this picture perfect lettuce coming out of the garden, and you're okay with the fact that you're not going to get any more harvest from it. If you don't meet any of those 3 qualifications, then this is how we harvest our lettuce from now on, okay? Are you ready? So you've got your pruners, you can get some scissors, and what you want to do is come to the outside and lower leaves of your lettuce. Remember that lettuce grows from the heart. So when we're cutting the lower leaves, then what we're doing is we're cutting the oldest growth on the plant. So when we do that, we not only get the biggest leaves possible from each plant, but we also are, one, protecting from pests, because you can see how when I harvest this way, I'm actually taking the leaves off the soil. These lowest leaves are the ones that have the most contact with the soil. And if you know anything, if you've been around Gardenary for a while, you know that leaves touching soil is no bueno, all right? So simply by harvesting these lower leaves, we're helping the plant protect itself from pests because we're getting it off the soil surface. So that's the first reason. Second reason, we're getting the biggest leaves off the plant. And then the third reason, when we harvest this way, we're actually exciting the plant to grow more from the center. Listen, plants, they don't care so much about whether we harvest them or not, but they all have an ulterior motive. And that ulterior motive is to reproduce, all right? They want to stay alive as long as they can. Believe it or not, your plants want to stay alive. Did you know that? I know you might think they want to die, but the truth is your plants are dying to live. They want to stay alive. Not just that, they want to make babies, all right? They want to make a lot more of themselves. And so when we come along and cut from the plant like this plant wakes up and goes, oh my gosh, Nicole is taking from me. I need to make some more leaves to make sure I keep living, I survive, and I survive long enough in order to make seeds so that I will be here, my kids will be here next year, all right? So when you harvest from your plant, you're actually encouraging your plant to produce more leaves. If you don't cut the heart out of it like I did, all right? If you don't make the harvesting mistake, then you're encouraging your plant to keep growing. So that's the way that you harvest your lettuce. That's how we're all gonna harvest our lettuce from now on, all right? Are we in agreement? Tell me we're in agreement. Yes, ma'am. So we're gonna cut our lower leaves, leave the heart of the plant. By doing so, we get the largest leaves possible. We protect our plants from pests and disease from the soil, and we also spur more growth. We encourage the plant to grow more leaves for us because we've just taken a whole bunch and we know that these plants are dying to stay alive and reproduce themselves. And so this simple pruning process gives us way more lettuce and also gives us much healthier plants. So this is the way you get loads of harvest from just a few lettuce plants. You do not cut the whole heart and head off of your lettuce plant. Instead, you take a little bit of extra time, cut around the exterior of each of your leafy green plants, and you're gonna get 2, 3, maybe 4 harvests like this from each and every lettuce plant you're growing in your garden. I don't know about you, but I like more because more is more, right? So we're gonna go for way more harvest from each and every one of our salad plants, and this is the way. Don't cut the whole thing off. Cut a few outside leaves and you're gonna have the best salad season of your life. All right, if you want to keep growing with us, you can get the Gardenary calendar for free. Check it out at gardenary.com/calendar. You can download it right away and know when to plant each and everything in your garden. Once you give us just 2 dates, we tell you all the rest, including when to plant lots of lettuce. So if you love this video, tell me in the comments. Let me know any questions you have about growing your own salad. And then check out our salad box system that's available at gardenary.com in our shop. We love helping people grow salad. In fact, one of our missions is to replace all those boxes, all those plastic boxes of salad that we all throw away anyway from the grocery store. We want to replace those boxes with loads of greens you can grow at home. So join the mission, grow your own salad, and do not make the same harvesting mistake that I made, okay? I don't want to see this in your garden. Don't let me see that happen in your garden, okay? All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.